Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are going way back in time, a full century actually, to unbox a really fascinating piece of history. We're going to see what public health and the vision for a new modern society looked like through the pages of one single, pretty incredible book.
So this is it. This is our guide. It was published in Istanbul back in 1924, and its title translates to Methods of Protection and Prevention from Social Diseases. You can think of it as a window straight into the mind of a brand new nation trying to deal with some very old threats. So, what were they so afraid of? And more importantly, what was their game plan to fight back?
All right, here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll set the scene, historically speaking. Then, we'll figure out what the book even means by social diseases. After that, we'll dive deep into the three biggest threats the author identifies. We'll look at the very specific solutions they offered, and then wrap it all up by thinking about what this message from 100 years ago might mean for us today.
Okay, so to really get this book, you have to understand the world it was born into. Context is everything here.
Think about this timing. This guide came out just 1 year after the Republic of Turkey was officially founded. The Ottoman Sultanate was history. This was a moment of absolutely radical change. I mean, they were building a new, modern nation from the ground up, and a huge piece of that puzzle was creating a healthy, strong, and productive population. This book, well, it's basically a blueprint for that vision.
Right, so that brings us to the big idea of the book. What in the world are social diseases? That's not a term we really use anymore.
The term in the original Ottoman Turkish was içtimai hastalıklar, and it wasn't just some dry medical category. No, it was a whole way of looking at threats that people believed could weaken society itself. These weren't just diseases of the body. They were seen as diseases of the nation, tied up with things like your behavior, poverty, and even morality.
And wow, the scope here was incredibly wide. It wasn't just about the big, scary, contagious killers like tuberculosis or cholera. It also looped in conditions they thought were passed down through families, and even what the author called moral contagions, like alcoholism. All of it was seen as a sign that society was being weakened by poor hygiene and bad habits.
So, from this big, broad list of threats, the author really zooms in on three main enemies. Three massive crises that, in his view, the new republic absolutely had to defeat.
Enemy number one was tuberculosis. Back then, they called it the White Plague. It was just this terrifyingly common and deadly disease that was a shadow hanging over communities all over the world.
And you know, the author didn't just use scary language. He brought the receipts. He used cold, hard data. This table, which is pulled right from the book, shows just how devastating TB was in the capital, Istanbul. And by breaking down the deaths by community, he was making a powerful point. This was a crisis that was hitting